They assumed she didn't belong in first class. They figured she was just another problem passenger who could be quietly escorted away. So they dragged her off the plane in front of everyone, smirking as they closed the door behind her. But the woman they humiliated wasn't just any traveler. She was the new majority owner of the entire airline. And when the pilot learned the truth, he shut down the engines, locked the doors, and told the entire crew, "No one is leaving this plane until justice is served." This is the story of how one woman turned the tables so completely that the people who judged her never forgot her name. It was a red-eye from Atlanta to London on Atlantic Skyways, Flight 217. The first-class cabin smelled of fresh leather and quiet privilege. Most passengers were already settled, suits reviewing spreadsheets, a few couples sipping champagne, the soft hum of the engines barely noticeable. In seat 1A sat Maya Ellison, 36, founder and CEO of Horizon Freight Solutions, a logistics empire that had quietly become one of the most powerful players in global supply chains. She wore a simple charcoal blazer, white blouse, and tailored trousers. No flashy jewelry, no designer logos, just a single platinum watch that had been her mother's. She was exhausted from weeks of closed-door negotiations that had culminated in the silent acquisition of Atlantic Skyways. The deal had closed at 7:14 a.m. that morning. She hadn't even had time to change out of her travel clothes. She wanted only one thing, a few hours of sleep before landing in London for the first board meeting as majority shareholder. The senior flight attendant, Karen Whitlock, had worked the route for 18 years. She prided herself on knowing exactly who belonged in first class. To Karen, Maya did not fit the picture. Too young, too casual, too black. Karen glanced at the seat map on her tablet, then at the empty seat 1A that had been held for a last-minute VIP. She decided Maya was the easiest person to move. Karen approached with a practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes. She asked to see Maya's boarding pass again, claiming a system glitch. Maya, bleary-eyed, handed over her phone. Karen barely glanced at the screen before declaring there must be a mistake. "Economy is toward the rear," she said, voice low but firm. Maya calmly explained she had paid full fare. Karen didn't listen. She radioed the captain, labeled the situation disruptive behavior, and requested security. Within minutes, 2 uniformed officers appeared. They asked Maya to step off the plane, to sort it out at the gate. She knew the optics. If she resisted, she'd be labeled aggressive. So she gathered her things, stood, and walked the long aisle past staring passengers. The whispers followed her like smoke. Probably stole the ticket. Doesn't look like she belongs here. At the jet bridge, the cold air hit her face. The aircraft door closed behind her with a final thud. Inside the cockpit, Captain Daniel Reeves had just received a text from an old friend in corporate. "Maya Ellison is on your flight. She closed the deal this morning. She now owns 62% of Atlantic Skyways. Treat her like royalty." The captain stared at the message, then at the manifest. Seat 1A, Maya Ellison. Status, offloaded. Security issue. His stomach dropped. He turned to his first officer. "Did we just remove the new owner of the airline?" The co-pilot shrugged. Karen said she was disruptive. Captain Reeves unbuckled, stood, and opened the cockpit door. Karen was in the galley, laughing with another attendant, pouring champagne for the VIP who had just been moved into 1A. "Karen," the captain said, voice low and dangerous, "where is the passenger from 1A?" Karen froze. "She was causing trouble. I had her removed." The captain's face went white. "She's not just a passenger. She's the majority owner of this airline. She signs your paycheck. She signs my paycheck." The champagne flute slipped from Karen's hand and shattered on the floor. The cabin fell silent. Captain Reeves grabbed the PA microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. We are delaying departure. A serious mistake has been made. The passenger we removed was wrongfully identified. We are not leaving until she is returned to her seat with a full apology." He turned to Karen. "Go get her, now." Karen ran through the terminal in her heels, sweat ruining her perfect makeup. She reached the airport security holding area and burst in, breathless. Maya sat at a small metal table, back straight, phone in hand, recording. She looked up calmly. Karen stammered apologies, begged her to return. Maya listened without expression. Then she spoke softly. "You humiliated me in front of hundreds of people. You didn't even check my ticket. You saw my skin and decided I didn't belong." Karen's face crumpled. Maya stood. "I'll come back, but only if you make a full public announcement on the PA admitting what you did. No excuses, no misunderstanding. The whole plane hears the truth." Karen's eyes widened. That kind of admission would end her career, but she had no choice. She nodded. The walk back to the plane felt like a funeral procession in reverse. Karen trailed behind Maya like a shadow. Captain Reeves waited at the jet bridge, hat in hand. He offered a deep, sincere apology. Maya stepped aboard. The cabin was thick with tension. Karen picked up the interphone with shaking hands. She pressed the button. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Senior Flight Attendant Karen Whitlock. Earlier today, I made a terrible mistake. I wrongly removed a passenger from seat 1A. I judged her by her appearance instead of verifying her ticket. That passenger is Maya Ellison, the new majority owner of Atlantic Skyways. I am deeply sorry for the disrespect and humiliation I caused. I apologize to Miss Ellison and to all of you for the delay." Her voice cracked on the last sentence. She hung up the handset. The cabin was silent except for a few gasps. Maya walked to seat 1A, where the VIP, a red-faced older man, had already been moved back to business class. She sat down without a word. Karen brought her a glass of champagne with trembling hands. Maya took it, then looked up. "I expect flawless service for the rest of this flight. Understood?" Karen nodded, eyes down. The plane pushed back. Engines roared. The aircraft lifted off. But the story wasn't over. In the forward galley, Karen whispered to a younger flight attendant. She was already texting her union rep, spinning a new narrative. Maya had been abusive, had threatened her, had thrown a drink. She planned to file a report upon landing. She believed the police would side with her. She didn't know that a quiet passenger in seat 2B, a freelance investigative journalist named Ethan Cole, had recorded every moment of the galley conversation. He had also captured the original removal. He slid his phone toward Maya during meal service. She watched the video in silence. Then she looked at Ethan. "I thank you," she said. "I've got your back," he replied. Maya dialed the cockpit. "Captain, when we land, please have the senior police commander meet the aircraft. We'll have a matter to resolve." The landing at Heathrow was smooth. The jet bridge connected. 4 Metropolitan Police officers and a senior detective boarded. Karen stepped forward, feigning distress. "She assaulted me," she said. "I have a witness." She pushed the younger attendant forward. But the young man looked at the detective, then at Maya, then at Ethan, who held his phone. "I didn't see anything," the attendant whispered. Karen's face went pale. Maya calmly played the videos, first the removal in Atlanta, then the galley plot. The detective watched in silence. When the footage ended, she turned to Karen. "Making a false police report is a criminal offense in the United Kingdom. You're under arrest." Karen screamed as officers placed her in handcuffs. The same aisle she had forced Maya to walk now became her own walk of shame.
Passengers applauded as she was led away. Maya stood at the door watching. She leaned close enough for only Karen to hear. "You were right about one thing. By the end of this day, one of us would wish we'd never stepped on that plane. You just didn't realize it would be you." 6 months later, Atlantic Skyways had new leadership, new training programs, and a completely transformed culture. Maya walked through Terminal 5, no security detail, just a boarding pass in hand. She sat in 1A again, this time with a crew that smiled genuinely, who knew her name not because they feared her, but because they respected her. The airline was profitable, diverse, and safe. The old guard had been replaced. The culture that once allowed people like Karen to thrive had been dismantled. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet, precise, and unstoppable. Maya Ellison didn't just win her seat back. She won the future. If you've ever been judged, underestimated, or treated as less than you are, know this. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's gaze. It's determined by what you do with the power you already carry inside you. Drop "I am worthy" in the comments if this story hit home. Like if you believe karma always finds its way. Subscribe for more stories of quiet strength and unstoppable justice. Until next time, keep rising.